Hello and welcome to another episode of Defense India podcast, the podcast where we discuss matters pertaining to India's internal security. And joining me on the show is our expert on internal security, Vicky Nanjappa. Vicky, welcome to Defense India podcast.
Thanks, Akash. Thank you so much.
So, Vicky, if we talk about the today's topic that we're going to discuss, it is going to be again Manipur, the matter which is being discussed all over the country. And the parliament is not working because of it. So many protests happening across the country because of what is happening in Manipur. But one more major problem apart from the Kuki and the Meitei clashes is the illegal immigration of people from Myanmar into Manipur and the states like Mizoram, and that is also one of the reasons why there is this kind of a deadlock or a constant turmoil in Manipur. And recently, around 481 illegal people from Myanmar came into Manipur, and the Assam and the Manipur government has also asked for a clarification from the Assam rifles who are there on the border. So, first of all, I want to get your insight about what are these illegal occupations that are happening on the border, people from Myanmar coming into Manipur and Mizoram.
Manipur government, Akash, had just recently asked for a report from the Assam Rifles on, how between 22 and 24 of July, there were, close to 712 infiltrations which happened into Manipur. That is one thing. But that was a little bit expected, Akash, because, the thing is, the state has seen a lot of violence. So the security mechanism, is completely diverted to the strife that is happening within the state. And, many groups, take advantage of such a situation because at that time, the border security is a little slack at that time. And then, they tend to infiltrate. This is, a classic thing which we used to keep seeing in Jammu Kashmir. Now, the thing is, there has been no infiltration in Jammu Kashmir since the past 6 months. But earlier, what they would do is, create violence there within the state, which is now the union territory. And then, when the security mechanism is looking the other way, then, they would infiltrate. So something very similar is happening in Manipur also. And I think in the days to come, the security forces will have a lot of work because there is going to be a push there. Because when you talk about the Rohingya Muslims coming in, while one part of it is persecution, then there's the other one which is, very systematically pushed into into the state because, states of Northeast and all that. And then, they spread across the rest of the country and things like that. And we have seen certain instances in which, they have turned violent or been used by groups, to carry out attacks like the Bodhgaya attacks and things like that. So it's, kind of a dicey situation out there.
Correct, Vicky. And yes, you're very true. Insurgents coming from Myanmar, and then spreading across the country. We have seen what had happened in various parts of the country because of that. But Manipur has a lot of history with the people coming in from Myanmar. The so-called people who live in a place in Myanmar which is called Chink, and they are called Chink cookies because they have this kind of a lineage to the Kuki community which is there in Manipur. So that is also one of the biggest reasons for the clashes between the Meitei and the Kuki people, because what they feel is that they are growing their numbers. The Kuki people are growing their numbers by getting these people from Myanmar, and the sheer volume of the people then becomes a little bit of problem that these chink cookies have taken over most of the hilly areas, which the Meiteis actually claim was traditionally theirs, was then occupied by the cookies and now by the chink cookies. And there's a lot of poppy farming which is happening on these hills, which the Biren Singh government is trying to curb. So how does India, tackle this kind of a situation of illegal immigrants coming in? Should India close its, have this kind of a strict border which we have with Pakistan, or what other means that India could take to at least stop this kind of illegal immigration into India from Myanmar?
Border needs to be tightened, Akash. There's no doubt about it because the thing is, the problem is the infiltration by these people is not, just restricted to Manipur or Mizoram alone. Okay, the thing is, they come in large numbers and then they spread across the country and things like that. And nobody, seems to be talking too loudly about these infiltrations which have happened into Manipur, which is, disturbing the balance out there. Like what we saw in the case of West Bengal. Areas like Murshidabad and all that. Where these Bangladeshis infiltrate and things like that. Now, what starts happening is, number one point is that there's been a general complaint. That they come in, they somehow manage to get their fake documents done out here. They are stealing jobs, and in Bengal, we've seen that, they indulge in, narcotics or counterfeiting and things like that, and they get money and things like that. And in Bengal, we've also seen that problem, that they have forced the Hindus out of their own lands and things like that. So, when that starts happening in large numbers, even in the case of Manipur, it is going to disturb the balance, okay? Because there are people, born and brought up there, they belong to that land and things like that. And someone from outside is coming, they're foreign funded, they sometimes have money and things like that. And many times, under the garb of human rights, they come in and things like that. And, we have a lot of voices within the country who talk about human rights. But I would purely look at it in the terms of security. And when we say security, we don't mean, just terror attacks or something like that. Buying over land, forcing people out of there, poppy cultivation, as you rightly pointed out, those kind of things. So it starts disturbing the balance out there, So, one community trying to, outdo the other one, that is what happens. And most of the time, you've seen that, the community which is in a bit of a minority. I mean, I'm again going back to West Bengal or something like that. They're getting more and more people like this. The thing is, it's very well planned. This one, and it is not happening now. It's been happening since the 80s. Okay, almost. The thing is, get more and more people there, and then you become the majority community out there. So it's very similar. The kind of the rule book which they use, in the rest of the parts of the country where they want to infiltrate, and what is happening in the northeastern states also.
Correct, Vicky. And but the problem is not new, as you pointed out, that it is not a new problem. It has been there for a long period of time. During the Congress time, also, this was the same problem. During the BJP's two consecutive terms, it is the same problem. So why doesn't the state government, because law and order situation is a state issue, so why doesn't the state government put a foot down and say that this is done, we are not going to allow immigration, illegal immigrants to come into our state and steal our people's job? So why is there such a lackluster sort of an approach towards these kind of illegal immigration, especially into border states where you have a touching border with China also?
Right. I think if the Manipur government should follow in the footsteps of what Assam did. The thing is, there was that heavy NRC exercise. Okay, that is one thing. And also another thing, when it comes to infiltrations and things like that, more than state, it becomes a central subject. That is one. Okay. Supreme Court was very proactive when it came to Assam. That is one thing. I mean, I think instead of just questioning and things like that, Supreme Court also has the power to order an NRC. I know there have been protests and there's been resistance to the NRC, but something needs to be done. That is the thing. That is the whole thing. We can't always just look at it. Okay, it is an internal problem. While controlling law and order is definitely an internal problem and things. Infiltration, I think there should be a bigger push, from the center as well as the Supreme Court, for that matter, to avoid such a situation. And let's, as I said, let's not look at it isolated in the case of only the northeastern states, which is happening, because Rohingya Muslims have reached South India. They are all across this one. Recently, if you see, Yogi Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh has ordered the identification of 9,000 Rohingyas there. Okay, that is one thing. So that itself is an alarming figure, that there are so many people living there, without documents. That is one. And when you're living without a document or something like that, I mean, there is no, I mean, you can't question anything. They can just do anything and everything. That is one part of it is there. Okay. I understand, some of them coming as refugees because, the situation in Myanmar is not exactly very conducive there for them to live. They are also being persecuted out there. But let there be a proper process, that is one thing, that, don't just try to sneak in and, try to take away others' livelihood and land and things. I'm talking about, places like Kerala or, for that matter, even in Karnataka, where there's been such an influx of them. They are taking away the local jobs. That is one thing. For some time, it'll be fine, but, it'll start creating a problem there also, right? So that is one thing. I think both center and Supreme Court need to really have a serious look into infiltrations, especially into Northeast and Bengal.
Correct. Again, yes, this problem of Rohingya Muslims has no, and I think India is the because India is has its border with Myanmar and also with Bangladesh, so we have this kind of a problem where this illegal immigration keeps on happening, and of course with Pakistan we have a little bit of more stern borders, but somehow people do find their way through PUBG and other to get into the country, find their so-called love, and get into the country. And people from India also go to Pakistan. But that's a different matter for a different day to be discussed. But yes, as far as Manipur is concerned, so now what the stories are coming in, what reports are coming in, that the Manipur government had 6 rounds of meeting with the Kukis, 6 rounds of meeting with the meitei representatives, and there is now a chance of all party meeting in terms of the Kuki, the meitei, and the government sitting down at the table and trying to figure this out. This kind of a situation that has absolutely gone out of hand. Do you have a timeline? Because to be very honest, it is a ticking bomb. Or it goes off because there have been the bad blood between the meiteis and the Kukis for a very long time, and they have tried to prevail some peace, but on and off something comes up and one situation or another flares this up. Do you think that this government would be able to mellow it down? Because I think the people did vote the government thinking in point that the BJP government, that what the Congress was not able to do in so many years might be possible for the BJP. But to be very honest, BJP is also seem a daylight in the deer in a headlight kind of situation here.
See, the one thing is there, the thing is we always talk about that, that High Court judgment which came out, which became the trigger for the whole thing there. That is one thing. I thought on that front, the local mechanism actually failed, in providing proper intelligence. Okay. It is going to take a while. It's not going to be an easy solution or something like that because, tempers have been, really high on both sides, and if you see some attacks have been, purely revenge attacks and things like that. So that is one thing which is there. And most importantly, I think there needs to be a coordinated effort. State has to do a lot of talking out there. The thing is convene all party meets and, a lot of talking on. And meanwhile, on the other hand, the security mechanism also, which is, manning the borders and things like that, they need to make sure that, more and more of this kind of infiltration does not take place because, I do not personally believe that it is just an internal strife. I mean, like the thing is, what we saw in Jammu Kashmir also, there is always an external element also, which wants to keep the thing on the boil because border states being on the boil is a very dangerous thing. Actually, that is one thing is there. Infiltrations must stop because 2 days back, if you see, there was a submission. I mean, or this one reply in the parliament by the government saying in the past 6 months there's not been a single infiltration from Pakistan. And if we are able to control it there, Pakistan, which is not a friendly state exactly, I'm sure, all efforts can be taken to curb it here also. I don't see any reason why they will not be able to do it. A lot of damage has happened, there's no doubt. Okay, I thought, sometimes the response mechanism was also very slow. I see this problem getting sorted out in another 3 to 4 months, Akash, because it's, still very volatile and things like that. That is one. And even the Home Minister yesterday, he has handed over. I mean, he said that the probe regarding the video has been handed over to the CBI, and they want to try most of the cases outside the state. That is one thing, which is actually a good move. I think so. But humongous task on hand for the state government, to kind of bring about peace and for it to completely go down because that revenge mechanism is still on. That is what will keep getting the problem back again. And of course, external forces, they have to be, you have to keep a watch on them.
Exactly. Well, we'll wait and watch and keep on discussing the Manipur matter in detail on Defense India podcast. On that note, thank you very much, Vicky, for joining me on another episode, and thank you, viewers, for viewing our podcasts and sharing your likes on it and giving us good views and subscribing to our channel. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to Defense India podcast, and we'll be catching you in the next episode. Thank you very much, Vicky, for joining me.
Thanks so much, Akash. Thank you.